Hi, everybody. My name's Winnie, and I've got a little trash story for you. You see, my older sister tried to kick me out of my home. My parents took her side, and I don't know how to live my life now. When me and my sister hadn't been born yet, my parents built a large house. They counted on having a large and friendly family. No, they weren't that rich, but they both dreamed their kids' families would live with them. So they invested all they had into the future family nest. The house had 3 floors, a lot of rooms, and each floor had its own kitchen and a couple of bathrooms. But it happened that my mom started having health problems after she gave birth to me. The doctor said that my mom would never have any more kids, even if she invested tons of money in her treatment. And my dad said he dreamed of his own kids and large family, and he totally refused to take other kids from the orphanage, as well as trying some other options like surrogate mothers. Both me and my sister were pampered the same way. Good thing we had an age difference of just 1 year, and in fact, we grew up together, like salt and pepper. We had the same toys, but our parents bought clothes at sales, and they were totally different. They said, if you like it, wear it, and then change. To pay the bills, my parents started to rent the upper floors of the house, so we had some neighbors who also had kids. And my sister and I couldn't help witnessing how these kids received everything without dividing it into mine and yours. I don't know why, but I always didn't really care about what to wear or what toys to play with. Well, yeah, I wanted a beautiful doll or a new dress, but I wasn't offended if my parents didn't buy me something. Just not buying it now meant it would be something else later, maybe of a better quality or just totally different. For example, I wanted a doll, but they bought me cool roller skates later instead. But Helen was always whining. She believed that if I didn't care, and she was the oldest, then she should take all the benefits and joys. I asked my parents to buy some new clothes for her, and then she would give me the ones she didn't want to wear anymore. We had the same body shape, so me and my parents didn't really mind it. But the fact was a fact. And Helen was one of those people for whom it was easier to give them what they want instead of explaining why not. And it was okay when we were kids, but when we got older, it turned into a serious problem. But one thing was fine. We studied in different classes and in different schools. She studied in the math school and me in the humanitarian one. I was keen on history. So I didn't see the greater part of her fails. I only heard from our parents later that my sister was destroying relationships with her classmates and teachers by her whims. For example, she could stand up in front of the whole class and say that she didn't like her grade for the test because some guys had the same mistakes as her, but their grades were higher. I don't know, maybe this is the right attitude in life, but it certainly didn't make others love you. When we were kids, no one wanted to be friends with Helen because she wanted to take away and then divide other kids' toys the way she thought was right. So now she shared cribs, assessments, and projects. Her main rule in life was, everything must be the right way, and I'm the one to determine what's right, including property division, yeah. When we were old enough to think about the future, the first failure related to this issue happened. Well, when I was 17, I already started living with my boyfriend. We were in love. He had his own apartment, which his parents gave him. Nothing special, a typical studio, perfect for a young man. But for some reason, Helen freaked out that I lived separately and I had a guy. One day, our parents gathered to announce their will. The house would be divided into 2 parts between me and my sister. Helen freaked out again. She started yelling I already had a place to live, and she had nothing in turn. Why the hell should she share her property with me? But no one knew why the hell our parents' house became her own property just out of the blue. As a result, my parents decided it would be fair. They terminated contracts with the tenants of the upper floors and settled us there. Me and my boyfriend were on the 2nd floor, and Helen on the 1st one. Helen fiercely fought for this floor, though no one really objected. But when she saw how I made a terrace out of the roof and planted flowers on our cozy balcony, she immediately started to yell I was taking away some space from her. But then my boyfriend became outraged and called everyone to order. I understood this was just a family conflict, but what started next just cannot fit into my head. I happened to break up with my boyfriend. No yelling or scandals. Just at 17, it seemed that your first love is forever. But later, your eyes open, and you realize you don't really like your loved one somehow. He threw socks around, asked for breakfast in bed, and gave nothing in return. That's how it was for us. So he left, and I finally settled down at home. I suggested my parents re-rent the floor, because me alone didn't need 5 rooms. I also suggested to them to save money from the rent, or spend it on their needs. I returned to my room where I lived when I was a kid, and that's where my sister totally went crazy. She said if I was going back down to my parents, then she needed to too. Again, my parents didn't say anything. They found tenants, settled them down, and sent the money from the rent to our bank accounts. You know, I used to love all sorts of historical books describing the daily lives of people. There were some things there about communal apartments, where people divide square meters and fought for the soup plate. I just read it, but I never thought I would face it in my own home. From my own sister. So she started to kick me out of my home. Of course, she just tried to force me to go away somewhere. And it looked absolutely awful, because nothing could really stop her at all. She would throw my white things in the washing machine with her black socks, kinda like, oops, I didn't see it. She would pour salt into my cup of coffee when I didn't notice it. It got to the point that when I bought some food for everyone, she ate everything herself and said that it wasn't her. Once I bought a huge 3-tier cake with animal figures, just for an experiment. It was some holiday, and I was wondering what Helen would do because of her desire to expel me. So here we go. A 98-pound girl ate the entire huge 3-tier cake. I don't even think she swallowed it, like those boas they show on Discovery Channel. But these were really small things. She did something much worse. For instance, once I was washing the windows, good they were on the ground floor, and she came up and just pushed the ladder out from under my feet. And you know, luckily I'm still alive, but the fact is a fact. And second, falling into the thorny rose bushes backwards was not fun at all. And pushing, turning on the water boiler in the bathroom up to the maximum boiling point, as if accidentally. When I was having a bath, locking the door of the house from the inside, knowing that I wasn't at home and would return very late. This was just okay for her. I didn't understand why she was doing this to me. I tried to talk to her, to understand what she really needed, but in response, I received only abuse and regular kicks. We were 2 big girls, and it even became a trivial fight, and I wasn't the one who started it. And most of all, really, did she hate me so much just because I also lived in that house? Isn't it ridiculous? But the worst thing happened on Christmas Day. You think it's a cute family holiday? Uh-huh. Somewhere else, maybe. But for us, it was a real disaster. Because Helen went so crazy that she put some of her own blood pressure medicine in all the food. Everywhere. Okay with me, maybe she hates me so much, but she didn't even feel sorry for our parents. As a result, instead of a holiday, we all ended up in the hospital. And she herself didn't eat anything. I was also not particularly hungry, since I celebrated the holiday with my university friends in a cafe. I had a snack there, but I still tried some of my mom's goodies. My parents got really bad. Dad was even taken to the intensive care unit. And then she started blaming me, like she saw me putting something in the food, and that I just wanted to get the inheritance, sell the house, and kick her out. That was some kind of reverse psychology. It's good there was no real trial, and no one believed her simple words. But the most offensive thing was that the parents didn't react, just watched one of their daughters poison another, and them too. Really? And they didn't even interfere. Once I tried to talk to them and asked them to calm Helen down, but they said they weren't going to interfere with the kids' problems and that we should sort things out ourselves. After that, I gave up. If it's so important to Helen that I live somewhere else, so be it. I packed up my things and went to live with my GF, but this was a temporary measure for a week max. And then we're gonna think of something. I still don't know why Helen wants to kick me out. This is our shared home after all. It's not her private residence. Am I right? Especially since I don't need her territory. I'm quite okay with my own. What's this? Greed? Stupidity? Envy? I don't get it, really. I swear I never did anything wrong to her. I didn't even intend to. I never said anything mean to her until it all started. And as for my parents, it was quite a shame too. They didn't protect me and didn't help. Though it even became obvious for the neighbors that Helen should undergo some treatment in a hospital. Or at least be prescribed with a magic kick-ass. Have you ever had similar stories in your life? Write in the comments what you think of it. Why does my sister act like this? I really need your advice. Or at least to look from the outside, because I gave up, really. Well, and folks, let's be kind to other people, especially if it's your family.